co-founder, the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. ONYXCON is a 501c3 nonprofit arts and creative lifestyle organization built to help you realize and appreciate and live your best art life. What's your best art life? Meaning we put you around things that are creative. Whether you're an artist yourself, an art enthusiast, or just somebody who appreciates creative and experiences, we about that life. And when we say life, we mean life. We mean we are not one thing, because how can art be one part of it? It's so many things that are art. And there are so many things that are creative. There are so many spaces and places and things to do that are creative experiences. So we're very wide, and we call what we do multi-niche content, not one niche. You hear all the time on social media, what's your niche? What's your niche? What's your channel about? What's the niche? We don't have one niche. We got, it goes on and on, but I tell you what, we definitely have at least 7 to 10 strong ones. And we average about 4 to 5 per season. Keyword season, winter, spring, summer, fall. I'm in the metro ATL area. And depending on what time of year it is, whatever events are going on, whatever happenings, that's what I'm covering. You know, whatever movies came out, that's what I'm covering. Whatever music that we're feeling, that's what we cover, you know. So we're a multi-niche content channel, and we're proudly that, because we know that we feel that that's where things are going. We know that that's going to be the future for a lot of these algorithms. But right now, while they're trying to make it easy for themselves and their technology, they try to force you into doing it. You know, just pick one thing, make a channel about one thing. Yeah, well, life ain't like that, and human beings ain't like that. People get tired of talking about the same damn thing when you know you got to talk about it daily. Because if you know anything about YouTube, you got to do it every day until it clicks. And even when it does, you can't just go to sleep and rest on your laurels if you had a successful channel for, say, a year or something and you got monetized. No, you got to keep posting to keep that flowing, right? And to keep your audience that you work so hard for. You know, y'all, my monetization nation, I'm so happy to say this, about to be 1650 plus. I think it is 1650 as of today. 1,650 of y'all. Thank you so much. But I was watching something that blew my mind because it was so informative, and I want to share this with all my YouTube. I want to share it with anybody, whether you do YouTube or just watch YouTube. You know, because if you do YouTube, you do both. But you know, if you're a content creator, you do both. But if you just an audience, then that's fine too. But it's good to know this information I'm about to talk about, and I want you to watch it from the source. Thank you for the thumbs up. That's what I'm talking about. That's my real ones. That's my monetization nation checking in. I appreciate you. Shout out to Jade Beeson. Jade, just like the Mortal Kombat character. Jade, just like the Simon Precious Stone. Okay, Jade is her name. I have never seen this lady until today, because the algorithm will suggest things, and you be like, oh, okay, yeah. And it knows that I've looked up information in the past on how to make a successful YouTube channel. I mean, naturally, I would be looking at that kind of stuff. But there was like a week or maybe even a month that I was going really hard about it. But that's been a long time ago. I don't watch stuff like that all the time no more. I just, you know, if it comes up, maybe. But I kind of got tired of hearing the same thing repeated. And like I was joking, just saying earlier, when everybody keeps talking about, just do the one niche until it works. One niche. And I'm like, I'm anti that. I'm multi-niche, and I refuse to not be. You turn on, you know, on our channel one day, you might see a shoe video. You're a sneakerhead, you happy. You come back thinking it's gonna be only sneakers. Now I'm fishing. You might now then the challenge is on you as to how diverse your mind is. If you've ever had any curiosity about fishing because you've never done it, you might stay and watch. Now I got another level of a fan. You're not just a fan of the sneakers, you like the fishing too. We got a new Denzel movie coming out, a Spike Lee joint. I got to see that movie. It's really mostly about the music industry, but I know Spike Lee gonna give you, talk about multi-niche. Spike movies are always multi-niche. And I think that's another reason why I'm such a fan of his work, because he's always been multi-dimensional. You know, Jungle Fever was a great film about interracial relationships, but it was not just about interracial relationships. The other story within the story, stories within the story, were his friendship with Spike's character, let me speak specific, Wesley Snipes as the lead, okay, played Flipper, that was the name of the character, that was fun. But Flipper's best friend was Spike Lee's character. You had that friendship situation, you had the relationship the dynamic between them as like brothers, as friends, and then they were married men and their wives and their kids and families. Then you had the grandparents, Flipper's parents. That really was whole nother story within the story, because then he has a brother played by Samuel L. Jackson, if you ever saw this classic. I'm talking about Jungle Fever for anybody just joining us to make a quick point. I'm talking about this film. But that really dealt with drug abuse and the fact that this was during the crack era, and Samuel played one of the most amazing roles he's ever played, because not only did he live that in a way, because he went through that in his real life, and he always says it was being an actor that got him off the streets and off the drugs, because he replaced one high with the ultimate high, and he was like, you can't break it. I remember him saying something like that in an interview, like he was like, you can't stop being an addict until you replace whatever you're addicted to with a new addiction. And he said, I became addicted to making movies and being the greatest actor I could be. And that saved his life. So yeah, once again, art saves the day on some other level of it for me, when I love the arts as much as I do. But my point is to say that was like two major plots in the same film. Then you had the relationship of the Italian lady that Wesley Snipes' character ends up cheating with, and her family dynamic. So then you get into the Italian neighborhood. So you had that going on. That was like a third story within the story. And if you were to describe it to somebody who's never seen the movie, which I'm sure some of y'all haven't, they say, wait a minute, what's they got to do with everything? And that's what makes this movie so brilliant, because he understands, just because you say the movie's Jungle Fever, we're not gonna spend 2 hours just having lustful sex at the office where he's cheating on his wife and she's cheating on her boyfriend, and they mess up a whole bunch of other folk, but they don't show how they're messing up a whole bunch of other folk, or more importantly, how other people already got their own mess, but they're connected to each of these characters. That's deep. That's storytelling. That's life. And that's why Spike Lee is a genius. And that's why I love his films. But it's like I say, I'll be doing that. I'll be doing a review of that. And then within the same season, because what? It's now. It's what's happening now. They say live in the now. ONYXCON, we living in the now. The way I can make multi-niche content is I'm in the now. Whatever's happening right now is relevant to what I might make content about in any given day. You know, but it's still gonna stay within my topics, because I got so many niche. So I can always find a way to connect them and flow and have fun with it. And for those of y'all who appreciate it, you're gonna be here. And so in this interview, getting back to that point, because that's what I was really gonna share, was this sister Jade Beeson. If you've never heard of her, look her up, Jade. I made notes, because most of the time I don't. I be trying to remember these names and I can't, so I'm looking at my notes. Beason. And I'm at a stoplight, so that's the only reason I'm looking at them now. Krista, and she interviewed a gentleman named, very important name to know about. If you ever see him in an interview again, he's definitely one you want to watch if you hear him come up. Because I couldn't believe that this even happened, because these kind of people don't do interviews typically. But she got him. Like I say, all I can tell from, I don't know if she's in the UK, but she had a UK accent, very pretty black lady, probably in her 20s. Christos Goodrow was her guest. And Christos Goodrow is the head engineer of the department that designs, he named it like 4 different categories of elements of the computer systems that make up what people call the algorithm for YouTube. So she was talking to the executive. I'm gonna say that again. She was talking to the, T-H-E, all capital letters, executive, who actually designs and works over the department that designs the algorithm. Not some dude with a fancy microphone in his basement. I'm sorry, I have to make fun of them every time I say that, because they get on my nerves, because they think that, I'm not saying all of them, some people just can afford good equipment, they got all that fancy stuff. Yeah, cool. But they don't have no personality, or if they do have personality, they even might have a great voice, but they ain't really talking about nothing. But a lot of these folks are self-absorbed. And that's what gets on my nerves out here, is that you'll see, I've seen, what stopped me from watching stuff about how to improve your channel is it was always these people who think or speak from a perspective as if they are Christos Goodrow. It's like, what's your name again? Who, me? Yeah, what's your name again? Mr. Podcast Guy? Oh, I'm Jeffrey Basement Boy. Yeah, exactly. You're still, do you work, have you ever worked for YouTube? No, but I know a lot about the algorithm. Because I went viral for what? What made your channel viral? Well, first, we all try and find our way. Oh, okay. You could have done multi-niche, but you ain't had the nuts to do 5 or 6 topics. You did one. That was the easiest one that you knew was going to get the most views, which I understand. I'm not saying I don't see the logic, but I'm saying it drives you crazy. You got bored. You really loved that first thing, but nobody else liked it. So you gave up on your first love. What was that first love? Well, I used to talk about my comic book collection. Why'd you stop doing that, man? We love comics. That's how ONYXCON started. I was in the comic book shop just the other day. Now somebody might say, well, damn, why don't you have more content about comic books? Because the same joke I'm making about this character I'm making up in my head, I learned that the audience I want is not going to be here as hardcore as I need them to be if that's all I talked about. Plus, it's not all I want to talk about. Third, I'm not even that guy as I was when I was the ages I were when I was really, really hardcore collecting. I still need it every night. I need to go in a comic book shop. It's a nostalgia that will never die. I'll be 80 years old and will be so comfortable if you walk me in a comic book shop. It don't matter. I will always love comic books, but there's just a thing that happened for me, and it happens for a lot of people. It changed. Life changed. I went through other things. I got new loves, things that I'll spend more time on. That don't mean I don't still love these other things, but I'll spend more time on these other things. So the same thing happens for your audience. So if you're like this character that I'm making up, this guy who thinks he knows it all because he got, fancy equipment and sits around talking about the algorithm, but he don't work for YouTube. A lot of these folks, they may have had another passion, but like I say, they don't want to take the risk. So they pick the thing. They say, look, I know if I do a lot of how-to stuff, YouTube is known for YouTube University, as we casually say, for every video that's showing you how to do something. So they go the how-to route. Nothing wrong with that. We all do a version of how-to some way, somehow. Nothing wrong. I'm not even coming for it like it's backwards to do any of it. What I'm saying is, it's self-defeating at some point, because if all you're doing is talking about research, because that's what they do. They compile a bunch of research from various articles and various headlines and various other YouTubers doing the same damn thing they're doing. And they barely give credit to each other, which is why I'm so happy every time I take time, make my notes, and shout out, like I said again, Jade Beeson, shout out, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful content. Amazing, right? But when you show, okay, the real numbers, versus you're just compiling a bunch of data from various guesses on how something works. Or me and my friend who got the algorithm to work because we did goofy, obnoxious, stupid, loud material. Well, yeah, that works because people don't want to think in some groups of people. And if you know the demographics of YouTube, age-wise, worldwide, everything, and I haven't gathered all of that, but I've gathered enough to know what I'm about to say is true for one category. There are more men on YouTube than there are women. So just that fact alone, and I wish there were more women, I really do, but just that fact alone makes it where if you put a pretty woman, I'm passing by an ad right now, I'm talking to y'all, and just as a straight man, I can't even help myself. I'm looking at the road, but that's why they put billboards on the side of the road. I see at my peripheral, I see long hair, lashes that are noticeable. That's why they wear them big ass lashes. But I tell women all the time, it looks fine for a photo or something to get noticed on the side of a highway. It looks ridiculous in person. That's a whole nother topic though. I see a smile and I look and oh, what's that? Oh, I've seen that one before. It's this ad with a made up pretty woman with long hair for a damn car dealership. Local car dealership. They got money, dealership shit. They so good with it. The next billboard, they hogged that one too. They put the same ad. So you missed it the first mile, here it is on the next mile. They gonna make sure you see it, right? And if you're a straight man, you gonna look. It's just, you can't help it. It's in your DNA, it's in your loins, it's in your, and it don't mean, you know, if you're in a relationship or whatever, you trifling because you can't control nothing. No, but looking is one thing, acting is another, and then that's billboard. But my joke is to say, just like that billboard will get you, the same thing happens on a thumbnail. Every thumbnail I have, and every experience I've ever had, for the most part, there's a few that slip through the cracks. I just feel like y'all didn't see them. That's the only reason why. They had a pretty woman on the thumbnail, okay? And everybody can debate what pretty is. Let me tell you something about that. It makes me laugh. If she pretty enough that you in your circle of friends would say, yeah, she pretty, guess what? Multiply that times whatever ratio you want. There's a whole nother category of guys in the world who agree. And then there's a whole bunch of booty, you know, weird head motherfuckers that's gonna say, oh, she's not a 10. She's not all them number system fools. It don't even matter, because even the ones that she'll tell me like, but I'll look at a 5. They will click. Do you hear me? They will click. That's why they call it clickbait, right? Even as I keep mentioning that Jay's a looker, because I want y'all to support this sister's channel. She's pretty, right? Go look. You'll see what I mean. You know what I'm saying? And if you love to hear a lady who's got a clear, nice, pleasant voice, but then also has an accent, and you're into the UK accent, oh, you're done. She about to get a subscriber. Shout out Jay. Like I say, didn't know about her channel till today, but what I loved about this interview was her interviewing the man himself in charge of the algorithm versus just sitting in a room by herself looking at it. Mind you, her channel's like that. Most of her content is her by herself with her fancy cameras and equipment, which, like I always say, I'm never impressed by that. I want to see what you did with all that fancy equipment. I'll watch somebody who's doing it the way I'm doing it, with just a phone and a speaker in the phone, if the content is good, if it's actually good. All them bells and whistles don't mean shit. And at some point, I'm gonna get sick of it, especially because I'm gonna be reminded that somebody like me gotta work twice as hard as however this person is so privileged to already have it, and I'm out here busting my ass to get it. What did you do to be so fancy and it don't seem like you got that talent? Like, you ain't got that, you know, I'm in the film business. I know about charisma. I know about camera presence. I know about all these things, right? And I see so many people don't even have that, but they got some fancy ass equipment, right? So like I say, I commend this lady because she had the full package. She does look good. She's aware of herself. She speaks well. She's doing quality content. She's getting to the damn point. Oh my gosh. That's when I knew I was gonna watch. Within the first few minutes, she's like, let's not waste no time. I said, oh. What did she say? She said the magic word. She said, let's not waste no time. I like that. She's not trying to just blah, 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 blah. You looking at the clock like, is this how you getting your watch hours? Because you know you're pretty, so we're going to sit here and look at you until you be like, man, even as pretty as you are, I got other stuff to do. I got to go. And they don't care, because they're like, all right, if I got 5 minutes, a minute, all right, I'm good. And some people do that on purpose. And that's annoying as hell. But she jumped right to it. She had the interview with this guy, Christos, and he got right to it. She was asking every major question you would want to know. She even brought up something that, you know, no one's using the term yet. This is why I always want my credit when the time is due. Because I know how things go. If I keep saying it long enough, somebody else gonna bite it, not give credit. Don't do that. But I know that's what some gonna do, because they, you know, people just weak like that. They don't want to say they didn't think of something first. Why? Just be honest. You're part of a human family, but they don't look at it like that. They still stuck on the constructs, and they stuck on their gender. They stuck, you know, they want to be the first man to do it. They want to be the first woman to do it. They want to be the first white to do it, the first black to do it, the first whatever. Man, look, you're part of the human damn family. If you did it first, you did it first. It is what it is. If you didn't, you're not Johnny come lately. You just came in a little later, did the same thing, or was inspired. It's okay to admit you had an inspiration. I'm telling y'all now, I had an inspiration. I love to say I had an inspiration. Nothing like inspirations. That's a blessing to have an inspiration, universe blessed. But again, Jade Beeson, that's her channel. She interviewed this Christos Goodrow. And at certain points, I am not quoting directly. I never say I'm doing that, but I'm just telling it from memory what I remember I'm saying. At one point, she was talking about something about like, you know, if you started off doing one thing, it didn't really click and all that, like y'all often say, you know, you might want to revamp your channel, change your niche and all this. So they start talking all that niche stuff. And he said something. Man, what happened to my... Hold on, y'all. I'm tripping. Okay. Anyway, I see it. I'm good. Anyway, he said, it doesn't make sense to, you know, throw away videos. He was giving that example because she was saying, what if there's a video that just didn't perform? Is it good to just totally throw it away? He's like, I would never say throw it away. He said, unless it's really offending somebody. I was like, very good point. He's like, that's the only reason you should ever get rid of a video. Like, if you're in a situation like that, then yeah, because then it could be, you know, charges put against your channel and you end up losing it anyway because somebody have a strong enough case to say that you said some things that were offensive to a certain group or did something, whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. Sure, yeah. But, and I see it all the time with a lot of these travel blog bros that I watch their stuff and I'm part of the, you know, I vlog, but I don't call myself no passport brother. That's for damn sure. I ain't in that. I ain't claiming that movement. Only movement I claim is ONYXCON. We a movement of ourselves, damn it. All right. But we got many veins, capillaries and everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always say for the cultures, plural with a Z. All right. Because of the hip hop in me and I love to do it like that. But I'm saying because I'm not about to just do just because everybody else do. Just because we supposed to. We say we this, so we supposed. That's why I ain't claiming that, because y'all gonna do some stuff I ain't about. But a lot of them are getting in trouble with the hotties. I was just talking about the beauty of putting a woman in a thumbnail that they interview a lot of times or have in their channel. Folk come up later, they done broke up, they were a boyfriend, girlfriend, now they're not together, the girl's salty. She like, take that down. I don't like that that's still up. You know, so... And it's really happening. Like, people are getting hit with stuff, even from international. Like, you dude done visited a whole nother country and thought it wasn't gonna come back to hunt him. Nope, still be on you. So that would be an example of having to take it down anyway. And I can see that happening a lot, right? So then you got the other scenarios where people are doing stuff crazy where, you know, like I say, they just doing too much, saying too many of the wrong words that are already red flags on YouTube and stuff like that. If you're doing stuff like that, then yeah, of course. And I know that's what he meant when he said that. But other than that, he said, yo, whatever it is, no matter how, if you had 2 views, let it sit. Let that thing simmer. And she gave examples of how there's always some video I slept on, didn't think it would ever get no numbers. I wake up one morning, suddenly, it's like, wait a minute, this only had 10. What? Damn, it's got 100. Look back a month later, this damn thing done hit 10,000. Now, I ain't never had one do it like that. But I have had one hit where, you know, the day after I posted, had all the right elements for the kind of audience I know I've garnered. You know, I was in LA when I did the Tuner Evo car show. I got all these bad honeys with me, talking to them, interviewing, and the flyest cars. I'm like, what more could you ask for? Like I say, mostly male audience anyway, on my channel and in YouTube. Man, please, I know they gonna love this, right? It was slow as hell. It was like maybe 10. And I knew that was just like me and friends who were on the trip with me and stuff like that, right? And then suddenly it just started picking up. It was like 20 something, 30 something, 50, 100, 200, 300. I said, I'll be damn. Within months, and now, as of now, it's got a few thousands on each of those, because it was like 4 videos, you know? I mean, put them all together, it might be 6,000 or 8,000 views, you know what I mean? So that's a good feeling on something that wasn't anything when you first started. And that's what you got to remember. It will happen if you give it a chance to. And they also said a few other things that made me feel like the future is in multi-niche, because they were kind of alluding to the fact that it's like they weren't outright saying it, but I felt things that made me know I'm gonna stick to my guns. Like, they said some things like, you know, if your channel, like he made a joke, the Christos guys made a joke, said something about, like, you know, if your channel was about, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but let's just say he said it was about basket weaving, and then it changes to I don't know, flying airplanes or something, right? He said you might not, he said something, and then he said style, and that made my ears go up, because, you know, I do style stuff. And I said, and he said, that's not going to work. And they laughed, ha, ha, ha. And I thought, yeah, it can. And I've seen it too many times in my life when, because it was the way he said it, there's things people can say that I've learned. When you got to watch it when somebody says, that would never, if they speak of it like never, that can happen. Don't ever say never and then go laughing. You just open the door for it will happen. There's no such thing as never. There is absolutely no such thing as never. Just, I don't even say the word. If I catch myself saying the word, I say, oh. I go back to this lyric I love from AC Alone out of Los Angeles, California, one of my favorite West Coast MCs, favorite MCs, period, but especially out the West Coast of all time. AC Alone said on one of his tracks, he said, never say never because it never comes true. I live by that. It's a fact. You can't go around saying never, man. You always got to bite your tongue. Fight hard. You're gonna be bleeding, you're gonna be pain, you're gonna be hurting, you're gonna feel real silly. Like, as things will change, the destiny you couldn't see, you just couldn't see. That don't mean it ain't gonna ever happen. And that could be very detrimental to your survival. Like, some of these things are just trivial. It's like, okay, I couldn't have seen that happening. Story. Somebody say they didn't believe in me, but I proved